Young and Restless fans, you won't believe this week's chaos. The drama in Genoa City just hit an all-time high. Kane shocks everyone with a jaw-dropping $1 billion offer that leaves Victor speechless, but his power move quickly unravels when Holden exposes Audra's dark past, sending her into a panic. Meanwhile, Nick's rage explodes as he threatens to kill Mitch or Matt, after learning disturbing secrets that could tear the Newman family apart. And if that's not enough, Noah's returning memory uncovers a scandalous affair with Sienna, revealing shocking reasons behind his betrayal of Ali and the truth behind those mysterious face injuries. Holden's connection with Claire grows deeper, but with Kyle fighting for her love, and a sneaky couple quiz gone wrong, it's anyone's game. Yet Claire may be holding the real power. She's caught blackmailing Audra with a stolen check that could destroy everything. At Jabot, Ashley and Tracy plot to defend the company from Victor's empire-crushing schemes, while questions swirl around Nikki's long-buried one-night stand. Could Nick not be Victor's son after all? And just when fans thought it couldn't get messier, Monday's preview teases a devastating cover-up between Holden and Audra as Victor goes for total revenge, and Claire's next decision might set off the biggest disaster yet. Betrayal. Secrets. Bloodlines. This week's Y&R is one you can't afford to miss. Welcome to Celebrity Gossip 24 Hours, where the drama unfolds and the stories captivate. Join us as we delve into the intriguing world of Young and the Restless, revealing the untold tales and hidden truths behind the headlines. Y&R Recap, November 7th. Kane's $1 billion offer stuns Victor, while Audra panics as Holden exposes their past. On today's Young and the Restless, Friday, November 7th, 2025, Victor holds all the cards, and he's not afraid to use them. When Kane Ashby shows up at the ranch with a $1 billion offer, Victor toys with him like a cat with a mouse. Elsewhere, the love triangle between Kyle, Claire, and Holden heats up after Claire's surprise return, while Jack and Diane wait anxiously for Victor's inevitable attack on Jabot. Society. Jack and Diane sit at a table, eating and reading the news feeds about Jabot. Jack is happy that Victor hasn't made any moves against them yet. Jack shrugs. He knows Victor wants to wait for the perfect time to strike. This waiting game is maddening. Diane thinks Victor might not have made a move yet because he doesn't have the AI software. Maybe Kane lied to them to throw them off. Jack isn't sure about that, but he'll make sure Kane pays for any damage that ensues. Diane thinks Kyle must have left for LA. She sees the look on Jack's face and asks if he's having second thoughts about asking Kyle to go back. Jack says he's just antsy because he's waiting for Victor to attack them. Diane wonders how Claire would feel if she knew Victor was going to try to attack them. Maybe it would bring her closer to Kyle. We use your personal data for interest-based advertising, as outlined in our privacy notice. Jack thinks it would complicate things. He advises against letting Claire know about it. The last thing Kyle needs is his parents getting involved. A bit later, they leave the restaurant. Jack is convinced Kyle is destined to be with Claire. Diane thinks Kyle thinks that, but she's not sure that Claire believes it. Newman Ranch. Adam drops by to see his father, who gives him an update about Noah's bandages coming off. Adam is happy that Noah is doing so well. Victor says he just saw the social media post about Kane Ashby. He's glad the piece was a hit. Adam agrees. He wonders if Victor has started to use Kane's AI to cripple Jabot yet. Victor says he's decided to hold off on using the AI because the Abbotts are expecting him to use it against them. When the time comes, he'll need Adam to create an enormous distraction, and he wants him to be very creative about it. Adam says it leaves a lot to the imagination. Victor says it's a challenge. He thinks Adam is reluctant to go after Jack because of their friendship. Adam shrugs. He may not like it, but business is business, and Newman comes first. Victor's happy to hear it. He knows that Kane and Jack are planning a counterattack, so they can't sit idle. Phyllis gave him the keys to the kingdom, and he's going to use it. In a massive way. Adam trusts he knows what he's doing. Victor laughs. He always knows what he's doing. He doesn't divulge what his plans are, though, except to say that Kane Ashby will soon regret returning to Genoa City. The Genoa City Athletic Club, GCAC. Lily is on the phone in the dining room when she sees Kane get seated nearby. She ends her call and sits down with him, saying she wanted to talk to him. Kane assumes she wanted to talk about the kids and tell him that they miss him. He realizes that he overstepped and apologizes. Lily smiles and says that the kids do miss him. He's their father. The hit piece that came out didn't help, though. Kane agrees that he could have handled it better with his kids and Lily and says he would have destroyed the AI if it wasn't stolen. Lily asks if he has any idea who might have stolen it. Lily winters. Kane thinks it's either Phyllis or Victor. And Victor is the most likely culprit. He doesn't know for sure that Victor even has the tech. He doesn't even know if the program has been launched yet because it's completely silent. Lily can't believe he built something so powerful and that it got loose. Kane says he built in a failsafe, but they have to be in possession of the software to use it. He already talked to Jack and Diane about the theft and warned them that he thought Victor was in control of it. Lily thinks they'll still blame him if things go south with the software. The program was conveniently stolen from him right before he destroyed it, though. He was irresponsible, especially if Phyllis and Victor have the software. They'll not only go after Jabot, they'll go after Arabesque and Winters, too. She wouldn't be surprised if it was Phyllis who stole the software. Phyllis is a great hacker. Kane says he hasn't given up trying to make sure not everyone gets hurt. Lily asks what he's doing to make sure of that. Kane won't tell her. He says he doesn't want to disappoint her again, but if it all pans out, she'll be the first to know. Lily hopes he's not going head-to-head against Victor, because Victor always wins. Kane says he's already failed by letting someone get their hands on the program. He regrets every move he made as Aristotle Dumas, and he'd take it all back if he could. It's cost him everything. He admits he's going to confront Victor and offer him a deal. Crimson lights. Kyle makes a call to make sure the jet is fueled up. He's going back to LA. As he ends the call, Claire and Holden walk into the coffee house, and the smile quickly drops off of Kyle's face. Claire explains that she came back early to take care of business. Holden grins and says he was invited to come back on the Newman jet with Claire. Kyle asks Claire to talk alone. He's had a lot of time to think. Claire doesn't think it's the best time for a heart-to-heart. She declines, saying she's tired. Kyle asks if he can convince her to come to the house and talk to Harrison. Claire says she can't pass up the chance. She needs the coffee and promises she'll be there right away. Holden asks if they can have dinner later. Claire says they'll touch base in a couple of hours, and Holden leaves for the patio. Holden watches as Kyle and Claire leave and he relives his night of passion with Claire in his mind. The Abbott Mansion. Kyle and Claire show up at the house and call for Harrison, who runs downstairs. He's happy to see Claire. This is the best surprise. Harrison leads Claire into the living room, and she comments that his hand is cold. Harrison tells her that he just came from hockey practice. He stopped a puck with his leg, and it's bruised. Harrison shows them where the puck hit. There's nothing really visible, and Claire and Kyle smile at each other. Claire grins and says it really must have hurt. Harrison says he was hoping for a scar. He asks what the biggest bruise his dad ever got from playing hockey. Kyle says that he took a puck to the face one time, and he doesn't have a scar either. Harrison says it always feels bad when you're hurt, but it doesn't take too long to heal. He says they could only be two of the three pigs' houses since Claire wasn't there. He wonders who Claire went to Los Angeles with. They must have had the best time ever. Claire says she did have a fun time in LA. She says she went to Disneyland while she was there. Harrison asks what else she did with her friend. Kyle tells him not to forget to show Claire his costume, and Harrison runs upstairs to get it. Kyle asks Claire if she and Holden are a couple now. Claire says she doesn't want to hurt him, but what matters is that she and Kyle aren't together right now, and who she's with isn't any of his business. Kyle says he hates being reminded that they're not a couple, but he hates seeing her with Holden. He doesn't think spending any more time with Holden is in her best interests. Claire says it's her decision to make either way. The GCAC dining room. Holden enters the club and sees Audra sitting at the bar. He says he's glad he ran into her. He spent a lot of time with Claire while he was in LA. Audra says he must be wanting to hang out with a real woman now. Holden scoffs and says she's obviously not serious. He was going to give her a heads up, but he turns to leave. Audra stops him and apologizes. She asks what he wanted to warn her about. Holden says he came clean to Claire about him and Audra's past. Audra looks scared and angry. What exactly did he tell Claire? Did he tell her the truth, or did he give her the fairy tale version where she looks like a witch and he looks like Prince Charming? Holden says he's protecting her. Audra doesn't believe it. The only reason he would have told Claire about her is because he wanted to hurt her. How dare he give Claire ammunition to use against her and put her in jeopardy? Newman Ranch. Kane drops by the house, and Adam lets him in. Kane says he came there for one reason: to offer Victor a deal. He'll give Victor $1 billion to give him back the AI software so he can destroy it. Victor grins. Is he sure he can deliver on $1 billion? Kane says he will, but only if Victor holds up his end of the bargain. Kane's phone pings with a notification from his lawyer, Amanda. Call me. Urgent. Victor grins. Is there a problem? Kane looks at Victor. What have you done? Next week on The Young and the Restless. Holden tells Audra he told Claire because he didn't want her digging for the real story, which could hurt them both. Adam tells Chelsea that Kane could be out of business by the end of the week. Nick catches Noah and Sienna in a compromising position, and Sharon wonders if Matt Clark knows about their affair. Today's next update. Nick threatens to kill Mitch/Matt, and Noah's scandalous affair is revealed along with his injured face. Thursday, November 6, 2025, today on The Young and the Restless, Claire reaches a decision about her future. Just as Kyle is coaxed to return to LA, Sienna grills Mitch, and Nick grows more suspicious. At the Abbott manse, Jack declines to join Kyle and Harrison on a trip to the rink. As Kyle grabs his phone, the boy asks if he ever heard back from Claire. Kyle reads him her text and they agree they miss her. Diane arrives as they exit. She can see that their son is suffering. In LA, Victoria updates Claire that Noah came out of his coma and should make a full recovery. She's glad Nick can relax for a bit. But at that very moment, Nick is far from relaxed as he's just slugged Mitch/Matt at the shadow room. Sienna threatens to call the cops as Mitch protests that he doesn't know who Nick is. Nick calls him Matt, and unleashes, threatening to kill him if he goes anywhere near his family. That's not a threat. That's a promise, he roars. As Nick barrels out, Sienna asks her husband what the hell that was all about. Mitch plays dumb and deflects as Sienna rails that Noah's parents think he's someone named Matt Clark. He claims that he has no idea why they're calling him Matt. Sienna's convinced something isn't right here. Nick Newman doesn't seem like the kind of person who would punch someone for no reason. Mitch warns her to drop this right now or he'll let loose on the Newman. Undeterred, Sienna wants to know if Mitch knew the Newmans before. He wants to know the truth about her and Noah. Sienna claims they merely became friendly because Mitch wanted her to answer his questions about the business. Suddenly, she wonders if there's more to this than a business venture for her husband. Does Claire regret sex with Holden? Still at the cafe, Victoria quizzes Claire about Holden. Claire admits she's learned a lot of interesting things about the man she's been spending time with. It has her thinking about what she wants and what she doesn't want. She can't help but wonder if she went a little too wild, but assures her mother that every choice she made was her own. The only thing she's questioning is who she did it with. She's not sure she wants to live life on the edge like Holden does. This trip has made her think about where she goes from here, and with whom. Hospital happenings. Nick, meanwhile, has returned to the hospital, where Sharon learns that he hit Matt Clark and threatened him. They compare notes on Mitch denying being Matt, and Nick explains that Noah's crash happened near his house. Sharon won't let this man torment her. Nick vows he won't get near her. With no mention of the fact that Matt Clark is supposed to be dead, Sharon wonders why he's come back at them now and why he went after Noah. Sharon and Nick visit with Noah, who wants to know what happened to him. They clearly know more than they're telling him. Why is security being added to his room? They exchange a wary glance. Nick and Sharon step out to confer with the doctor about how much is safe to tell Noah. They're told to be honest, but monitor his reaction and stop if he becomes agitated. The doctor then gives them the news that they're ready to remove Noah's bandages. Sharon can't wait. In Noah's room, the nurse begins unraveling the bandages as Nick makes dad jokes. Finally, he's free of them and asks, "So, how bad is it?" His parents assure him that he looks great and Allie will love him no matter what. Noah's expression changes at the mention of his girlfriend's name. He claims it's because he misses her, but he doesn't want them to have her come out. Noah pivots back to the accident. They ask him about the shadow room, Mitch, and Sienna. At the Abbott house, Jack tells Diane that he heard from Allie about Noah. She'll keep them updated. Talk turns to Kyle hurting. Diane thinks they should tell him to go back to L.A. They debate until Jack sees the logic in it. Kyle comes in and they tell him to go fight for the woman he loves. The final scenes. In the cafe in L.A., Claire tells her mother that Holden taught her a lot, but he's not the one. Victoria asks where Kyle fits into this. Claire isn't ready for the kind of commitment that Abbott wants right now. It's too much, too fast. She plans to focus on work. Victoria urges her to tell Kyle, who deserves to know. As Claire's about to leave to catch her flight home, Holden appears, looking to ride to the airport with her. They're on the same flight. At that very moment, in Genoa City, Diane and Jack convince Kyle to head back to L.A. In the shadow room, Sienna asks Mitch why Nick Newman thinks he knows him, and why there's bad blood. Why does he keep calling him Matt? What aren't you telling me, Mitch? At the hospital, Noah says he met Mitch in London. He suggested he expand to L.A. Nick tells him Sienna called his phone after the accident. That's how they made the connection. Sharon asks why their son never told them he'd been coming there for months. Noah asks if Sienna said he'd been at the club the night of the accident, and then flashes to a passionate make-out session with her. Nick asks, "Do you remember something?" Noah claims he can't remember anything and is tired. Nick steps out and flashes back to his conversation with Sienna, who put him off from questioning her staff. He frowns and looks back in at Noah, trying to put two and two together. Today's next update. Young and the Restless, Holden's ultimate edge over Kyle for Claire, must know reasons. Young and the Restless has Claire Grace Newman, who has been torn between Holden Novak and Kyle Abbott for a few weeks. And this week, Claire has realized that Holden's lifestyle may be too wild for her. But she's also not ready to settle down like Kyle wants. We're going to talk about why Holden is the better choice for Claire and why she should choose him over Kyle, even if Holden is a little wild. Young and the Restless, Kyle won't respect Claire's boundaries. Alright, so after Claire called things off with Kyle and went to LA for time away, she spent time getting to know Holden better as friends, but mostly Claire left Genoa City to get some space from Kyle. And the last time Claire said she needed a moment to breathe, Kyle proposed. So this time, Claire left the state. And guess what? Kyle, of course, had to follow Claire to Los Angeles to try and convince her to come home, saying that Holden is no good. And then Claire lost it when Holden told her that Kyle was investigating him. But despite all that, you could tell that Claire was still torn about Kyle because she seemed a little bothered when he said he was going home to Genoa City. A Y&R Halloween twist and lingering doubts. And then on Halloween night, Claire got tipsy. She got a little wild. She told Holden, forget about Kyle. And they had a night of passion. Now, in the midst of that, Claire told Holden she had no regrets. But then she felt a bit guilty when she saw a text from Kyle with him and Harrison Locke in their Halloween costumes. Because Claire was supposed to be the third of the three little pigs on Halloween, but she bailed on them. And then she told her mom, Victoria Newman, that she's not sure Holden is the one for her and mentioned that he seems a little wild on Young and the Restless. Holden's past with Audra and Claire's reaction on Young and the Restless. And that came after Holden told Claire about his past with Audra Charles. And Holden revealed he took $100,000 in hush money from Audra after she stole $500,000 from this guy back in the day years ago. Claire doesn't see that as a deal breaker, and she's not judging Holden, but you can tell she's taking it into consideration. After all, Claire's done a lot worse than take hush money. But she does sense that trouble may follow Holden, and Claire doesn't want to live life on the edge, but she's also not ready to get married to Kyle. Why Holden is the superior choice for Claire Newman. Even so, I'm seeing a lot of fans on Soap's social media that much prefer Claire to end up with Holden instead of Kyle. And I agree. I actually think Holden is better for Claire than Kyle. And here's why. Because the way I see it, when Claire got with Kyle, it was basically a starter relationship. Kind of like when you buy a starter home. It's smaller. It's not quite what you really want, but it lets you get your feet wet with home ownership, you know? Claire's journey of recovery and emotional readiness on Y&R. So, at that point, Claire was just getting past the trauma from her psycho aunt Jordan Howard, getting her to try and kill her parents, Victoria and Cole, and her grandparents and her uncle. Claire had just spent time in a psych wing of the hospital and she was still in recovery mode, and like when you sober up after being an alcoholic or a drug addict, you're not supposed to get involved with anyone romantically for a year so that your head is clear. And I think Claire was kind of in a similar position, recovering from years of brainwashing at Jordan's hands. Claire had never had a boyfriend. She'd never been on a date. She'd never been intimate with anyone. She didn't really have a life. And then Kyle was pretty much getting serious with her almost from the start. He has been more serious than Claire about this relationship the whole time it's been happening. Kyle's rushed romance versus Holden's organic connection on Young and the Restless. I mean, if you think about it, Kyle's kind of been trying to low-key wife up Claire from the start. I think part of it was because as Harrison's nanny, she filled a slot that Summer Newman had vacated when Kyle dumped her as his wife. In the end, for Claire, it was all just too much too soon. Kyle was Claire's first love, but I don't think he's going to be her last. She doesn't want to get married and settle down with her very first boyfriend, Kyle. Also, to me, the way Claire and Holden got together seems way more organic. We saw that Claire got to know Holden slowly, randomly, and then as a growing friendship, and then later romantically, and then intimately. It's evolved very naturally. And Claire chose to be with Holden. He didn't swoop in and take over her life. Contrasting approaches to love on YNR, respect versus control. If you recall, he's been very considerate of Claire's feelings and very aware of her feelings for Kyle and very respectful to all that. Holden has worked overtime to not act threatened, even though he's been crushing hard on Claire for a while. And at every step, Holden keeps asking Claire, "Is this okay? Is this what you want?" And Holden even said, "You know, Kyle loves you." And he asked Claire, before they were kissing and before they took it further, "Is this what you really want?" And she said, "Yes." Meanwhile, Kyle has been pushing for what he wants and overriding Claire's wants and needs. Kyle suffocated Claire when she asked for space. So, to me, basically, Kyle is taking away Claire's agency, trying to push her into this box of being a wife and mom, which is what he wants and needs in his life right now. Meanwhile, Holden is putting what Claire wants first, way over what he wants. Kyle using Harrison on Young and the Restless. On top of that, Kyle's using little Harrison to tempt Claire to come back to him, which is not fair to Harrison or Claire. I mean, she loves Harrison, but as Victoria said, Claire doesn't have to date Kyle to be in Harrison's life. And there's a chance, you never know, Claire and Holden can make a baby accidentally or on purpose, which I think would be amazing for Claire. She'd be a wonderful mom. But not right now. The deciding factor, honesty and deception in Genoa City. Another big reason I think Holden is a better match for Claire is Kyle's a liar. He's lied to Claire repeatedly, both directly and by lies of omission, and he's still lying. Kyle fibbed about what he was up to with Audra before he went to France, and then fibbed about what happened in France, and then only partially came clean. And if you remember, Holden told Claire the truth about him and Audra and the hush money, knowing that he could lose Claire by coming clean, but he did it because he felt he had to. So, I will acknowledge that Holden waited till they got serious to tell Claire the truth, but I think that's okay. You don't tell people your big secret until you're way deep in with them. That's different from being in a relationship with somebody and lying the whole time. And Kyle has been keeping things from Claire when they were very deep into a serious thing. And let's be real, Kyle has still not told Claire the whole truth about France. The fact that he was in a towel, half naked, rubbing around on top of Audra, making out with her. If Claire knew the whole truth, I don't think she would look Kyle's way again. Why Holden's self-made status outshines Kyle's privilege on YNR. So, yeah, Holden may be a bit sketchy, but I mean, who would turn away 100,000? And it's not like he had an address to send the cash back to Audra. Plus, Holden is a self-made man. He's a hard worker. He's not a nepo baby like Kyle who's been given everything on a silver platter and still acts like a brat. And don't forget the Newman factor. Victor Newman, I think, is more likely to accept Holden and give him a chance to prove that he's good enough for Claire, like how Victor eventually came around on Kyle on a Cole and Chelsea Lawson Newman. But with Kyle, Victor will never accept him. He's Jack's son and that won't change. So, it's never going to be easy for Claire to be with Kyle and also be close to her family. And that's not fair to Claire. I mean, Victor's part of the reason it's not fair, but he's also not going to change. Final verdict, Holden's genuine connection with Claire. So, clearly to me, Holden tips the scales in his favor. He seems way better for Claire. They've got natural chemistry. They have real feelings that are slow-burning and mutual. There's no ex-wife complications, no kid complications. And Holden, as of now, has been totally honest with Claire. And Kyle still has not. That's why I'm Team Holden on this. Today's next update. The Young and the Restless Friday, November 7th recap. Kane's $1 billion offer derailed. Kyle's couple quiz for Claire. The Young and the Restless recap for Friday, November 7th, reveals that Kane Ashby's $1 billion offer will be derailed while Kyle Abbott has a couple quiz for Claire Newman. At Society, Diane Jenkins Abbott and Jack Abbott will have a strategy session regarding Jabot and Victor Newman before talk turns to Kyle's attempt to fix things with Claire. At Crimson Lights, Kyle will grab some coffee and plan to head to the airport for his Los Angeles flight. However, Kyle will suddenly scrap his trip when he sees Claire pop up along with Holden Novak. After Kyle finds out Holden and Claire flew home together, he'll seem annoyed. Kyle will ask Claire if they can talk alone, but she'll point out that she's jet-lagged and still needs to catch up on things after she unpacks. Kyle will ask Claire to at least come see Harrison Abbott at the Abbott house, so she'll get on board. Holden will want to meet up with Claire for dinner later, but she won't be able to commit to that yet. At the Abbott mansion, Harrison will happily reunite with Claire and get her talking about all the fun she had in LA with her friend. Kyle won't look happy as Claire talks about her time with Holden and will ask her a crucial question once Harrison goes upstairs. Although Kyle will want to know if Holden and Claire are a couple, she'll point out that it's really none of Kyle's business. Even so, Kyle will sense that Claire has doubts about Holden. Meanwhile, Holden will find Audra Charles at the athletic club bar, where he'll admit he told Claire about their past together, though he'll clarify that he didn't spill everything. Nevertheless, Audra will fume over Holden offering up ammunition and will assume he blabbed to hurt her. Kane will also sit down with Lily Winters at the GCAC, where she'll blast him for being so reckless. Lily won't be pleased over Kane's failure to engage the kill switch on the AI program remotely or even know if the software's being used. The fact that Kane commissioned this AI program will be disgusting as far as Lily's concerned, but he'll admit he wishes he could take it all back. Kane will also mention his plan to confront Victor and offer him a deal, but he won't give Lily the details. At the Newman Ranch, Victor will admit to Adam Newman that he's going to hold off on his Jabot attack since the Abbotts know he's coming. That said, Victor will task Adam with creating an enormous distraction when the time comes. Victor's only condition will be that Adam gets creative, so he'll really want his son to let his imagination run wild. Until then, Victor will hint about another plan involving Kane, will soon wish that he'd never come back to Genoa City. As for Kane, he'll eventually show up to propose the deal that he alluded to earlier. Kane will offer Victor $1 billion in exchange for the AI program so he can destroy it, but Victor won't be sure Kane can hold up his end of the bargain. After Kane insists that he can, he'll get a text from Amanda Sinclair that says to call her about something urgent. "What have you done, Victor?" Kane will ask as he glares at his rival on Friday's YNR episode. Today's next update. How Ashley and Tracy can help defend Jabot from Victor on Young and the Restless. The Abbott sisters need to return for Jack and Victor's latest business war. Jack and Victor's rivalry has been reignited on the Young and the Restless. With Victor trying to take down Jabot, Jack is rallying the troops to protect their family's company. However, there are two important people missing. Key takeaways. Jack and Victor have a long-standing business rivalry. Victor recently acquired Kane's AI software and plans to use it to take down Jabot. Jack isn't going down without a fight and has called on the Abbott family for help. Abbott family unites. Jack and Victor's business war has gone on for decades. Although it looked like the rivals had finally called a truce, Victor proved he's back to his old tricks. Thanks to Phyllis, Victor has Kane's AI program. In true Newman fashion, Victor plans to use the program to take down Jabot. But he's facing a tough challenge going up against Jack. The Jabot CEO isn't going down without a fight and has rallied the rest of the Abbotts for help. He already has Kyle and Billy on board. But Jack needs more help and should call on his sisters Ashley and Tracy. YNR fans on Reddit believe that the Abbott sisters should be part of the storyline. It's supposedly all hands on deck to defend Jabot from the mustache. So why hasn't anyone bothered to call in Tracy or Ashley for help? Ashley especially may have a slight chance of deflecting the worst of Victor's wrath, since he still holds affection for her, the original poster wrote. One viewer felt that kind-hearted Tracy might be able to reach through to Victor. Tracy too, as she saved his life when she allowed Victor to receive Colleen's heart. However, one fan thinks Ashley and Tracy's return wouldn't make a difference. Look man, they're both useless in that space since they haven't done any business for a really long time. Coming back to face Victor is pretty useless. Who will win the war? With their family's company and legacy at stake, the Abbotts are putting on a united front against Victor. However, given history, Victor usually comes out the winner in these battles. Since Victor has the upper hand with the AI software, it looks like gloom and doom for Jabot. But it's the mustache who might come up the loser this time around. Victor's biggest mistake was making a deal with Phyllis and trusting Kane's software. Chances are that Victor's been double-crossed and the software will be used to take down Newman Enterprises instead of Jabot. Kane is a smart businessman, and Phyllis stealing his program is part of his grand plan. With the AI program backfiring, Jabot will be saved while Victor will face ruin. However, the mustache won't take this lying down. The Newman patriarch will be back and ready to take down Jabot and Kane. Today's next update. The Young and the Restless, is Nick really Victor's son? Nicky's one-night stand surfaces? The Young and the Restless spoilers suggest that Nick Newman has always been vastly different from his father Victor Newman, so could a storyline emerge where Nicky Newman had a one-night stand so many years ago? Nick was a result of their one-night stand, but all soaps love to rewrite history, so this is always an option. Especially since Victor and Nick are polar opposites. Nick's a good guy, and Victor is a villain to his core. Plus, all of Victor's other kids seem to have a little of their father in them, with Victoria Newman being the female version of the mustache, and Adam Newman having the same grit his pops has. Abby Winters may gear toward her Abbott side, but she, too, has a methodical and businesslike mind, while Nick always flies by the seat of his pants. One can't help but look at Nick's impulsive personality and irrational behavior as something that could question his paternity. A fine example of this was the Wednesday, November 5th episode, when Nick visited the Shadow Room. He'd been champing at the bit to confront Mitch Bacall, whom Sharon Newman believes is Matt Clark. He watched him from afar as Mitch, Detective Burrow, and Sienna Bacall were conversing. Instead of doing something strategic, like perhaps heading back to the hospital to talk about next moves with Sharon, Nick moronically confronted Mitch/Matt by shockingly laying a punch on him. He obviously believes Mitch is Matt, which is why he assaulted him, which was a stupid move on so many levels. Not only did Nick take out the element of surprise by launching a productive strike against Mitch/Matt, but he also risked getting arrested by the Los Angeles police for assault. How would that end up helping Sharon or Noah Newman? In addition, the punch will only aggravate Mitch/Matt, whether he's Mitch or Matt. Nick handled things way differently than the way his father would have handled it, which leaves an opening for this paternity storyline. Nick is a goody two-shoes and has always been. But more than that, he's also one to make rash moves and decisions, often thinking with his heart and not his head. From funding Sally Spectra's business and not asking her for the money back to when it flopped to legally adopting his brother's child when Adam wanted to take responsibility for Christian Newman. There are so many examples of why Nick is a pushover, who often makes really dumb moves that has Victor shaking his head. He's also a hothead. While he has noble intentions most times, the way he lives his life and conducts his affairs has frustrated his father beyond belief. Still, punching Mitch/Matt takes the cake. Could this launch a new storyline? Could it trigger an angle where people start questioning if Nick is really Victor's son? Did Nicky have a one-night stand with an unknown character that will surface in the days, weeks, or months ahead? The Young and the Restless spoilers remind fans that anything is possible in the land of daytime drama, so Nick turning out to be the child of another man is always plausible. Today's next update. Why did Noah cheat on Allie on Young and the Restless? Noah and Allie fans got a disappointing update about their favorite couple. On The Young and the Restless, November 6th, Noah's bandages were removed. He also shared a shocking update about his relationship with Allie. He cheated on her with Sienna Bacall, who's married to Mitch. Key takeaways. Noah's bandages came off. Noah recalled making out with Sienna Bacall at the Shadow Room. It seemed he may no longer be happily engaged to Allie. Putting the pieces together. Noah is still coming to terms with what happened on the night of his car crash. At the hospital, he was brought back to his room. Sharon and Nick came to visit him. Noah apologized for everything he put him through. He would feel better if he knew what had happened. However, he thinks they know more than he does. He can tell that his parents are holding something back from him. Noah overheard Sharon and Nick discussing security with the nurses. But there's some good news. The doctors were ready to remove Noah's bandages. Sharon and Nick were relieved to finally see their son. Noah had some bruises and scars, but he looks good otherwise. He's happy to be free from the bandages. Sharon could tell something was wrong. Noah admitted that he missed Allie. His mom suggested bringing Allie out to Los Angeles. But Noah would rather speak to Allie himself. Besides, he has something important to tell her. What went wrong? The last time we saw Allie and Noah, they left Genoa City for London. They got engaged and were looking forward to planning their lives together. But Noah is keeping a secret from his fiancée. Later in Thursday's episode, Noah spoke to Nick about Sienna. That's when they found out that Noah was opening a club in LA. Noah asked if Sienna or Mitch said anything about him being at the club that night. He thought about the moment when he and Sienna made out at the club. They couldn't resist themselves. Apparently, Sienna isn't happily married to Mitch after all. Meanwhile, Noah cheated on Allie. Nick could tell that Noah remembered something. But his son claimed that he can't recall what happened that night. So far, he's keeping this secret to himself. He's allowing his parents to think that he's in a happy relationship with Allie. So, why did Noah cheat on Allie? Did he have a moment of weakness? Or does he have feelings for Sienna? Is Noah happy in his relationship with Allie? What, other than distance, caused problems in their relationship? Also, how long has this affair been going on? Hopefully, we'll get the answers to these burning questions soon. But this shocking revelation will disappoint Noah and Allie, who wanted to see them back together. We need Allie. Even without Noah on the Y&R. This could bring some much-needed relationship angst and drama. Today's next update. The Young and the Restless week of November 10th preview, Nick catches Noah and Sienna kissing. The Young and the Restless preview video for the week of November 10th to 14th reveals that Nick Newman will catch Noah Newman and Sienna Bacall kissing, so he'll expose their affair to Sharon Newman. YNR's weekly promo begins with Holden Novak, who defends his decision to tell Claire Newman at least part of the truth regarding his past with Audra Charles. Holden will insist the reason he spilled is that he didn't want Claire to take a deeper dive into what really happened. During a tense moment with Audra, Holden will suggest that's a story that neither of them wants to get out. Over with Adam Newman, he'll tell Chelsea Lawson that Kane Ashby could be out of business by the end of the week. Chelsea will wonder why Adam doesn't look happier about that news, so he'll have to offer an explanation. At the hospital in Los Angeles, Noah will get a visit from Sienna and try to convince her not to worry. After Sienna and Noah lean in for a kiss, Nick will appear nearby and spy the lip lock. Although Nick will try to pry more information out of Noah and Sienna, neither one of them will be willing to divulge much. Nick will ultimately tell Sharon that he walked in on Noah and Sienna in a compromising position, so she'll be horrified over that shocker. After Nick admits he hasn't been able to find out how serious this is or how long it's been going on, Sharon will be more interested in the answer to a different question. Like if her husband knows about this or not. Sharon blurts out in YNR's weekly preview. Sharon and Nick already know Matt Clark aka Mitch Bacall is a monster, but they may suspect he became an even meaner one if he discovered the affair and targeted Noah because of it. As for Matt, he'll deliver some new orders to Detective Burrow. Matt will push Detective Burrow to go back to Noah's hospital room and get rid of the guard at his door. Today's next update. The Rinse YNR November 6th. Noah's memory returns, and the truth is worse than the scars. Noah remembers more than anyone expected, and what surfaces could destroy the fragile peace his family fought to keep. In the November 6th episode of The Young and the Restless, Noah finally woke from his haze of recovery, and what surfaced wasn't just his face beneath the bandages, but the first flicker of a truth no one in his family was ready for. As Sharon and Nick celebrated his progress, a long-buried memory began to surface, setting off a new wave of dread that could unravel everything they thought they knew about the crash in Los Angeles. Key takeaways. Noah remembers a moment that changes the story of his crash. Sharon and Nick sense he's hiding more than he's saying. Sienna's fear grows as Mitch's mask begins to crack. What happened? After days of anxious waiting, Sharon and Nick finally received good news. Noah was strong enough for his bandages to come off. Relief flooded the room as they saw his face again and heard his voice, but their joy quickly mixed with unease. When Noah began pressing for details about the crash, his parents sidestepped, unsure what to tell him. As they mentioned Mitch and Sienna, something in Noah's expression changed. A flash of memory surfaced. He recalled kissing Sienna at the shadow room before the crash. The moment hit him like a shock, but he kept it to himself, pretending exhaustion had caught up with him. Sharon and Nick remained hopeful, unaware that their son was remembering far more than he let on. Why it matters. Noah's silence says everything. His parents still believe he's only regaining fragments of memory, but his recollection of Sienna adds a dangerous new layer to the mystery. Their connection, secret, intimate, and tied directly to the night of the accident, links him to the very people Sharon and Nick suspect of hiding something. By keeping quiet, Noah may think he's protecting them, but his omission could end up doing the opposite. The fallout. Noah's memories threaten to blow open the fragile truce between the Newmans and the shadows surrounding them. Sienna's unease around Mitch deepened, and the tension between her fear and his denial hinted at an even darker truth still buried. Nick's rage over Matt's reappearance, Sharon's disbelief, and Noah's guilt are all converging toward one inescapable collision, the moment when every secret tied to that crash will finally come due. Today's next update. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Monday, November 10th, Holden and Audra's worst cover-up, Victor destroys Kane's empire. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday, November 10th. reveals that Victor Newman will work to destroy Kane Ashby's empire while Holden Novak and Audra Charles discuss a far worse cover-up. At the athletic club, Audra will continue to seethe over Holden putting her in jeopardy by blabbing to Claire Newman. Despite Audra's initial assumption that Holden wanted to hurt her, he'll argue that he actually helped them both. Holden will point out that Claire had been bugging him non-stop for the details of his history with Audra. If Holden didn't tell Claire something, she might have gone digging for answers another way. Holden will contend that by giving Claire at least part of the story, he was able to satisfy her. From where Holden's standing, that'll be better than Claire doing a deeper dive and finding out what really happened in Los Angeles. Audra will settle down a bit as Holden reminds her that they both want the whole truth kept quiet. Of course, Audra will worry about Claire's newfound knowledge and the potential for her to dig deeper into all the LA drama anyway. Did the owner of that stolen wallet end up deceased? What else are Holden and Audra hiding when it comes to the horrors of their time in LA together? Other Y&R spoilers say Kane will get updates on Victor's sneak attack, so he's about to fly into a rage. Despite Kane offering Victor $1 billion in exchange for his chance to demolish the AI program permanently, that deal won't pan out. Kane may learn he no longer has enough funds depending on what Victor's been doing behind his back. Whatever the case, Victor will make it clear that he wants to topple Arabesque and will feel like he's well on his way to destroying Kane's empire. If Victor has used Kane's own AI program against him, he may get a thrill out of that. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Amanda Sinclair will confirm some awful news to Kane soon enough, so stay tuned to see how he might get revenge on Victor. Today's next update. If Claire rejects Holden, it could trigger disaster on Young and the Restless. Will Holden and Audra team up? On the November 6th episode of The Young and the Restless, Claire told her mom that while Holden was fun to hang out with, and more, in Los Angeles, she wasn't interested in getting serious with him in Genoa City. Then Holden showed up and asked Claire if she wanted to share a cab to the airport. Claire looked perturbed. And she has every right to be. Because she could have just opened a huge can of worms. Key takeaways. Claire is poised to dump Holden. Holden has a past with Audra. Holden and Audra could team up to stick it to the Newmans in revenge. Sowing your wild oats. Claire was raised by her crazy Aunt Jordan, who kept her on a short leash and refused to let her niece have any fun. Once Claire reunited with her biological family, she also began living a more well-rounded life, complete with a first boyfriend, Kyle. Kyle expected to be Claire's last boyfriend, too. But she wasn't ready to be tied down. Claire jetted off to LA with Holden and ended up sleeping with him on Halloween. However, as she told Victoria, Holden is too much of a bad boy for Claire. She doesn't see their relationship going anywhere. Great expectations. Based on Holden's behavior, though, he might be expecting something more. And when he realizes it isn't happening, will he turn to Audra? It was Holden telling Claire about his past with Audra that made Claire think she didn't want to be involved in the mess that is Holden's life. Does this mean that if Claire rebuffs him, the bad boy could decide to get really bad? Mutual enemy. Audra is furious with Victor for using her. Holden is furious with Claire. What if these two team up to bring down the high and mighty Newmans, using their underground contacts? Victor wouldn't be able to use Kane's all-powerful AI program to get at them. Which means they might have the best weapon to get at him. See? Human intelligence has won out over AI every time, so far. Today's next update. The Young and the Restless spoilers, Claire blackmails Audra Cortez with stolen check revelation. The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that Claire Newman may blackmail Audra Cortez, aka Audra Charles, with the stolen check revelation and rattle her rival. Y&R fans know Holden Novak finally told Claire the story of the trouble he got caught up with Audra. While Holden was tending bar at the Shadow Room, he covered for Audra after she stole a wallet. Audra lifted that wallet off a drunk guy who supposedly had a gallery that was going to feature her art. That gave Audra the opportunity to steal the $500,000 cashier's check inside, which the man obviously wasn't too happy about later. Audra fled LA, changed her last name from Cortez to Charles and sent $100,000 to Holden in the aftermath. Although Claire doesn't know the man's name, that's something she could probably find out if she put Victor Newman's, Eric Braden, investigative team to good use. Victor has the best private investigators in the biz, so they might be able to work their magic and locate that guy's gallery. It'd be easy to research Audra Cortez and seek out potential art collaborators who she might have known back then. Claire could at least make Audra believe that's a possibility the next time they cross paths. Perhaps Claire will horrify Audra by calling her Audra Cortez and admitting Holden told her all about the wallet fiasco. Claire may also point out that she knows Audra stole $500,000 and suggest that the vengeful wallet owner would probably like to know she's in Genoa City. Maybe Claire could pretend she already knows the man's name, though Audra would likely call her bluff. Even so, Claire may threaten to run to Grandpa Victor and have his people uncover the rest of the dirt she needs. Audra may find herself feeling unsettled after Claire spills what she knows and pushes Audra to leave town before her dangerous past catches up with her. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Claire will try to make Audra miserable now that Holden has divulged the truth, so stay tuned for updates on any other terrible news ahead for Audra. Today's next update. Is Matt Clark's return more about Nick than Sharon? Y&R fans think so. Matt Clark had a grudge against Nick Newman for over 20 years. Matt Clark's return has shaken up the Young and the Restless. Sharon was the one who first came face-to-face with the man who terrorized her. However, fans claim that Matt's return is somehow connected to Nick. Key takeaways. Sharon has faced many demons in recent years. She recently ran into Matt Clark at the Shadow Room. Y&R fans wonder whether Matt wants to get revenge on Nick. Why is Matt Clark returning? Matt Clark has a new identity. He goes by the name Mitch Bacall. When Sharon ran into him, he acted like he didn't know what she was talking about. But then he came face-to-face with Nick on the Wednesday, November 5th episode. Their confrontation ended with a punch in the kisser. Meanwhile, Y&R fans have to wonder why Matt Clark is back from the dead after 24 years. Does he still have a bone to pick with Nick Newman? Over on one soap opera message board, the original poster claimed, "I think the return of Matt Clark is more about Nick than it is about Sharon." Sharon has already dealt with other villainous obstacles in recent years. Martin Laurent held Sharon and Phyllis hostage in an abandoned mental health facility. She also thought she was being tormented by Cameron. However, it turned out that he was a hallucination exacerbated by her mental health struggles. Jordan Ian Ward covertly drugged her, manipulated her, and made her do things she wouldn't normally do. Vendetta against Nick. Most Y&R fans agree that Matt wants to get revenge on Nick. Now, he's using his son, Noah, for some unknown reason. Yes, Matt hated Nick. It is Nick that he is going after. Sharon is just a package deal since Matt went after Nick and Sharon's son, one person wrote. This is Nick's story, not Sharon's. IMO people have it wrong in thinking he has come back about Sharon. He has always hated Nick much more than he ever cared about Sharon. That's what drove him to such extremes back in the day, someone else commented. I would prefer that this story be more about Nick. I don't want to see Sharon tormented anymore. She already has enough to deal with now with her son being horribly injured, and with Mariah in the state she is in, a third person agreed. Fans have been over Sharon being constantly in distress on the soap. They've been wanting a different storyline for her, and if this storyline is focused on Nick, then all the better. For more of the latest updates and behind-the-scenes secrets from Young and the Restless, make sure to hit subscribe and ring that bell. Stay in the know with every new release.